Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday. Happy Monday. Everyone is doing well. We're live. We're back. We're back in action. And I guess as we're looking at QQQ, welcome to the melt up. I don't know. I don't know what to title these things sometimes, man. Other than Power Hour Live, but clearly that doesn't seem to do well. But either way, Qs are up 1.4 on the day after a great week last week. SPY, new all-time high. It's up about 0.9, call it 0.9. You got the Dow was red early on, I believe. Yep, came back green. It's up 0.5%. The Russell, same thing. Was red early on, came back green. Now it's up 0.75 roughly. So some decent bounces. The 10 years up 1.37%. Got to be careful with my still got a lisp, but it's all good. But yeah, so that's up 1.37. It's up a little bit. Wednesday markets closed, Juneteenth. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of an interesting week. You kind of have 2 days, and then you got a day off, and then you got 2 more days, then 2 days off. But yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. There was, well, it'll be in the trade recaps. I'll have some trade recaps coming out in the next couple of days. In those trade recaps, we'll be diving deeper into those individual trades and all that stuff. The current positions that I have, we'll cover a few of those. I guess we can cover them now. Might as well. One of them, well, I guess I'll go to my list right here. One, Bitcoin. Been in for a while. Probably didn't need to be in for this long. And I probably, well, it just hasn't hit take profit or stop loss, you know, so I could get out and say, yeah, screw it, or I could just hold on to it. I've been holding on to it. There's not really too much I'm getting blown out by in terms of fees and swap fees, which is a little bit, but nothing terrible. Although I guess they're adding up. We've got eBay, which this morning didn't look good at the open, but now it's bouncing back. Not surprising with the whole markets being up. We got Booking, which looks really good. New all-time high on Booking. I am looking for about $4,000 on it. So we still have about $65 to climb. It's up $75 today. Yeah, Booking is like almost a $4,000 stock, which I didn't realize, but it is. So looking for a push there. And if we get that by tomorrow, oh, well, I don't want to say tomorrow. Hopefully we get that this week and we hit PT and move on to the next one. But so far it looks really good. Trade's looking nice. Not a perfect, but it's, it's getting the job done. Netflix we got in last week, looks really good. Nothing really else to say there. Beautiful trade to the upside there. We're looking for $700 on that. So about $20 more to go on Netflix, or just about $19 to go on Netflix or so until my targets are hit. So we'll see. We'll see if we get them. What's going on, Charles? We'll see. But that's the swings we've got going on. We had a Tesla trade today, which I'll do a recap on. Had a trade on the NASDAQ today. Slightly green on day trades there. Kind of got stopped out. Well, realistically, I should have been very green. The NASDAQ trade, both trades actually, the Tesla trade eventually went to my target, but it did hit my stop first. The NASDAQ trade wicked just under my stop and then proceeded to break out after that. I was able to catch it on the second attempt as well as the first. So I lost on the first, but then I made more on the second. So I essentially made up the losses that I had on Tesla and the loss on the NASDAQ. So all back in that one, which is great. This is how you should be managing risk and how I like to manage my risk anyway. But had we not gotten stopped out in the first one, it would have been really cool because it would have been, all profit versus like having to recap the losses and then make a little bit of money. I'll show you what the wick was. The wick was, it was on this consolidation right here. This guy. So I got in on the break up here, and then it came down, and this lower wick, see this little lower wick, it's like just below the bottom of that consolidation. So my stop loss was literally underneath the wick right here. So it just got nipped and then proceeded to go. But I was able to catch it back in somewhere in here. And I mean, the move was insane. I had a good feel for that. I mean, setup was really good. Had it not worked the second time, it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. But not that I knew that was going to be this big of a move, but I had a sense that, hey, this is a really good setup, and I want to be involved here. So I made sure I was involved. I may have been driving at the time or in the parking lot, and then, but I was like, sometimes when a setup is that good, you just have to stop, park the fucking car, put the order in, make sure you're set, and then let it do its thing. And that's exactly what I had to do. Because if you look back at the big picture on the NASDAQ, that blue line that right? Oh, no, sorry. This is the blue line right here. The top blue line was where my breakout point was, which just so happened to be pretty much breaking out over the pre-market highs and breaking to a new all-time high, which has the potential, doesn't have to be a pretty good breakout candidate. And in this case, it was. Did I know it was going to be this big? No, but probabilities, right? Chances are that if it is big, or if it does break out, it could go big, and I can make more than I could look to risk on this trade, and that's exactly what happened. So happy to have that one work, but sometimes they don't. And then you can't control the wicks too. Like, yeah, you can try, but you can't control every tick. What's going on, Flippa? We're back. Yeah, I believe it or not though, I've been decent with my day trades lately. I still like swings more. I can't say that I like day trades more than swings, but the day trades have been working. They have, and I did realize that I was technically on my 25K account. I was technically sizing like half of what I should be. So those trades are going to need to be upped, which they kind of were today. I'll show that in the trade recap. Had they both had we just had one winner, it would have been really cool, but whatever. Otherwise, what else is going on? Tesla, SMCI. Check out SMCI. This is one that I'm interested in. The platforms that I use don't have it available to trade, so is what it is. But I'm looking at this and saying to myself, if I was trading this and I was trading a downtrend breakout, which I don't have a lot of data on, I'll be honest, but the potential that I see on this, I mean, go to a weekly time frame, and I like what I see. I would be looking for the breakout of this trend line. And not going to lie, as crazy as it might sound, I would be targeting a new all-time high, which is up near $1,300. And then my stop loss would be right here at 750 or 740 or something like that. Yeah, 740 or so. The recent low right here. So if we get a clean break above this line with good volume, which it looks like we might, then keep this one in the back of your mind, because I think it has potential to make a big run if we keep going up and following the footsteps of NVIDIA. Kind of like if you look at SMCI and NVIDIA, SMCI was SMCI hits its high here. Let's see, March 8th. Is that, yeah. NVIDIA, I mean, obviously new highs, but where was March 8th? Yeah, I guess March 8th was right here, but it went a little bit higher after that. And it proceeded to have this pullback right in here, which is, normal, I guess, right? Nothing crazy about that. The SMCI pullback that began on March 8th is technically still underway, and now we're just starting to break out, although NVIDIA's gone freaking way higher. So you're just starting now to break out of that, potentially, maybe, and we're like at the line, So I'm curious if it has legs, if it's going to go for more. Market's been strong, dude. Why not? Short on gold. One loser. Hey, if you're winning with let's be real, if you're winning when you're going 50%, dude, and you're making money, that's good shit. Seriously. Yeah. The if I go in here, like I can pull it up. I'll go to today. Put it up above. Let's see. I'm covering it now. I'm not. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, like it's small, but the first trade on the NASDAQ I had that got wicked out lost me 141, and then the winner made me 193. So I made like, you know, $50 on that account. That's just on the day, which, okay, not a big deal, right? Not a lot of money. Okay, yeah, okay, who cares? But this in a nutshell is literally what trading is. Like, you will do this, but if you do this like a million times, let's just say, or 1,000 times, and you win half the time, or even you can win 48% of the time, and this probably still comes out to be green, you're up. It's not a game like the people who talk about like 90% win rates and shit like that, dude, it's not real. And some people know that, but it's not real. That stuff ain't real, so don't worry about it. New high of the day on Netflix. Just there. Cool. Booking new high of the day. Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, all she's got to do tomorrow is go like $55. So it's up 85, 86 today. So I'm happy with that. I'll take that for target. If all these trades work, will be funded on the Arctic funding account. That's if they all happen to work. They look good. eBay, I think, has the least likely to work. But then again, right, today held a higher low, right, relative to these levels. So, okay. You can make the argument though as making lower highs, right here. But didn't hit my stop loss, didn't take profit, so we're doing it. We're doing it. Exactly. Now, dude, that, trust me, like that. From experience now, seeing it, that's all it is. And when you become like really good and happy with that, and like that's just kind of your identity now, like the mindset shift that you experience, and then just like the opportunities open up, and then it becomes less, like everything becomes less scary, less important, you know, in the moment, less stressful. All that. Apple with a push up today. Almost new all-time highs there. Probably get rid of some of these lines. AMD is funny. I thought about taking a... Well, no, I didn't think, but... I thought it was on NVIDIA. I thought about doing the inverse to my strategy today on NVIDIA. On the 5-minute, it would have worked. When I saw essentially like this move down earlier today, this breakdown followed by that wick, but it wasn't like there was not a lot of volume on the buyback, so I didn't do it. But I was like thinking to myself, like, man, like today could be one of those days. Early this morning, I was like, just kind of has that feel of like, market opens up, everyone shits their pants, we get a dip, and then it eventually catches and we start to push higher. That's what happened. Not that I traded off that, not that I will trade ever off that type of stuff, hunch trades and stuff, but it's kind of what happened, right? Not that SPY had a big move down, but you know, decent little pull. QQQ is I think a better view of that. You know, at the time, if you zoom in, you know, opens up, little spike, little dump, catch the dip, higher lows, and then eventually grind, poof, push. Big push, by the way. Very big push. I was looking back, and the risk reward, obviously you don't catch the entirety of the move, but it's kind of cool to kind of get a gauge, because I like to look at it and see, like, you know, how much is it moving today. And today it kind of is, I don't want to say it's an outlier, but it does feel like a bit more of a trend day than we've had in a while. But on the break here of this consolidation, you know, you would be dealing with, if you were to risk the low of that consolidation, which is what I was doing, you know, to high a day, you're talking about 11.68 to 1. Now, obviously, no one is going to do that, you know, but let's say you had you took some profits at your normal 2-to-1 risk reward or whatever the target was, and then you threw a trailing stop loss on it. I mean, you could have cashed a couple extra bucks in for sure. But it's kind of cool. I mean, we haven't had a move like that. It's not really about like looking back and saying, well, now I'm pissed I missed out on this move. It's not about that. It's more about, okay, noted, we haven't had a day like this in a while. Maybe we're headed for more of a trending market. I don't know. going forward. And if that's the case, then maybe I want to be a little more lenient with when I want to take profits, and in meaning like scaling out more potentially and working on that. I don't know. SMCI breakout, yes. I mean, that is on the border of, I think, a pretty good spot, and I do like it. I like it a lot, actually. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you draw the trend line, but it's pretty much there. You know, could reverse to, you know, tomorrow, whatever. But I mean, with what you have going on, not that we know what's going to happen next, but with what you got going on with Nvidia and the market and stuff in general, I mean, this looks like a pretty good probability opportunity for at least a little something. At least a little something. You know, if I was trading this personally on a bigger time frame, which would be like a weekly, or, dude, as crazy as it might sound, a monthly time frame, I don't know. I mean, like, does that make sense? Even the weekly time frame on the breakout here, I mean, I'd be looking for a new all-time high. I mean, why not? The thing moves big, and if it keeps the same pattern, roughly here, we're looking at a weekly chart though, right? When we finally break this, which has, by the way, been, you know, a multiple month consolidation or pullback period, when that breaks, it potentially opens the floodgates for a very large move. And, you know, if you go back to the move here from the breakout here, you know, you had about 100 or 200 or 300% move. Not saying that that's going to happen again, but a 40, 50, 60% move is not that crazy to me. You know, a move to $1,500, not that crazy in my opinion, based off what it's shown us it could do and it's done in the past. You know, not saying it's going to 1,500 by now, like, you know, okay, no, but wouldn't surprise me if it broke this level and then the next couple of weeks it makes that push up to that level or up towards, you know, there-ish. Tesla trying to regain some strength as a, you know, fun stock to trade in my book. I tried it. I played it last week on Friday, Thursday or Friday, and no, it was Friday, and then today, lost on it today, but technically went to the target that I was originally looking for. Just the movement prior to that stopped me out, so it's all good. But yeah, Tesla's I'd love to see her moving again because she's fun. Home Depot, by the way, a little sneaky. Looks like a pretty good potential opportunity if it breaks above 350 for maybe a little bit of a pop. Fill this little gap up here to 358. Little gap to fill on the Home Depot chart there. I don't believe any new alerts went off for me today, so nothing interesting that I had previously looked at. Nothing interesting has occurred today that's maybe going, oh shit, let's fucking go. Like, I'm not, like, nothing new has crossed the radar. Silver and gold, probably a no-go for me in either direction right now. But if we get to move up or down, no, that could change. Oil tried to get going again here. It looked weak earlier today from what I remember looking at it, I think. And then it's bounced back up pretty strongly today. Yeah. MSTR. Looks a lot like Bitcoin to me. Right? Got to get above 1735, give or take. It does look like, here's Bitcoin's chart. Back to MSTR. Back to Bitcoin. MSTR. Bitcoin. MSTR. They look kind of similar. So, seems like, you know, the eyes probably should be more focused on Bitcoin, and then of course the market being strong helps. I mean, don't get me wrong, that helps, but it seems like that, you know, Bitcoin's a bigger player there, because if the market being strong was the only factor here, or the stronger factor, you would probably anticipate us being closer to highs. It's not. It's definitely more Bitcoin being a stronger factor, a stronger guiding force here, and then MSTR kind of being, or then the market. Gap to fill down to about 1,300. So if it does break down, that could be an area to be looking at. So keep an eye on that one. AMC, honestly, I was looking earlier today. If anything, I would be interested in the short side. But at the same time, I don't know how much of an interest I have in this consolidation of shit. It's just like, if I had to pick a side, you know, I'd probably lean on the short side just because of what AMC's history has been. And you got a good pop. And so you have the opportunity for people who maybe bought the dip to be able to get out. And maybe some are now realizing, yo, it's not moving at all. You know, fuck it. I'm just going to get out because, you know, what if it goes back to 250? You know, I don't want to suffer through that. Who knows? Maybe they do more offerings. They raise more capital, dilute shareholders again. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. You can't predict that stuff, I don't think, at least with a lot of accuracy. So I'm not going to speculate there necessarily. But if GameStop is down 10% today and it starts to roll over and lose some of the juice, I mean, I don't know how much juice AMC is going to have. But the positive side is market is strong. So if we see, you know, market staying strong, that's going to give us a better chance that risk on stocks will do well. And if risk on stocks do well, then stocks like AMC, GameStop could get some, every so often, a little bit of a push, a little bit of a thrust, you know, a little spike. Just be careful. I would not be buying. I would definitely not be buying into any spike. If you're going to touch those things, dips are probably your friend unless you've got a proven strategy that you've tracked and can analyze over the bigger picture. But the area I would be watching on AMC closely would be the gap fill down to about 440. This is technically not filled yet. Not that it has to, but that would be the area that I'd be looking at if I was like, oh, I think I'm going to, if I was trying to short it, you know, I'd short it down to 440. And then beyond that, I don't know how good the risk reward is. Could be good in here. And maybe you get lucky with some, you know, news that comes out, but I don't know. Either way, though, not a big fan of it right now. It just seems like every push it gets to the upside just gets sold off. So it's like, you know, the long idea, well, yes, you can, you know, me in the past would say, you got some good support developing here. Yeah, higher lows. Yeah, I hear you. But look at these upper wicks. All of these days where we've had a good, well, there's one day there. Most of these days have decent upper wicks, meaning that sellers did end up pushing this thing lower at some point. And it did not close very, very strong. So I would just keep that in mind when you touch this thing. And the other problem is that if you're playing options on it, be careful because that market is absolutely a shit show. You want to talk about options in general being tough? Add options to a super volatile stock like AMC or GameStop, and they're even tougher. There are so many ways to lose, and the chances of losing go up substantially when there's a lot more attention on these things. You see the pricing of the options just become like kind of ridiculous, and the moves you need for them to make, the stocks to make, for the options to be worth your while or for you to make money, especially if we're just doing this and you get caught in this for a couple of days, the decay on those things, brutal. I mean, I've been there and I've done it too much. That's why just shares are plenty. Shares is the way to go on those things. If you really have, I mean, and the thing is, no one says you got to do it. No one says you got to trade it. You know, you don't have to. Yeah, gold and silver are trying to come back. So the intraday action on gold and silver. Well, gold and silver, when you're not in a high momentum state, You know, like when you're in the consolidation phase, kind of like right now, pullback consolidation, not really aggressively moving up or down. Dude, it is like the 5-minute charts, dude, get off of them. Get off the even the 5-minute, and people say, oh, people use the 1 minute. Oh. But look at these charts. It's barcoding. It's just like, I mean, it's moved today. Don't get me wrong, but oh my God, brutal action here if you try to mess with that stuff. So zoom out and play them that way. I would be careful with those smaller time frame charts on gold, silver, even oil. When oil is in the middle and doing nothing. What's up with the ZIM? Interesting. Let's see. Some will say, or I'm sure someone will look at this and go, well, you got a potential, really, you know, head and shoulders if you can put one in here. Maybe. I don't know how much you want to call that a left shoulder, but you could. I don't love the look of that. I'll be honest with you. However, the spot to be watching is about $17. You just want to see it hold 17. If 17 holds, you're looking okay. If it does not looking as okay, but you know, not the end of the world. That too, not the end of the world. Why does that one sound so familiar? But I can't remember. What's Amazon doing these days? Choppy. What about Google? Amazon and Google looks decent. Stronger trend and all that. How about Roku? Because isn't, like, Netflix is doing so well, right? Is Roku getting nailed? Dude, Roku looks like shit. Roku has seen better days, that's for sure. It's crazy. I thought that would be more of a closely correlated to Netflix, but it's not for whatever reason. Like really not. Like it's way off. What is this? Ozone? Dude, no way. The Amazon of Russia. Well, I think... How's that been doing? Hey! Not bad. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You know, it just got destroyed. Holy shit. You talk about, like, an example of buying absolute fear. Because this, you know what this was right here? You know, this big drop? That was the whole war. Like, that was when they initiated the war with Ukraine. I believe. Yeah, it was leading up to that. It was falling off. And then the big moves down were like February, March of 2022, which I believe that's when the whole Ukraine war began. It was like February or March 2022 when that, like, technically, like, began, I guess. And so it got destroyed. And I remember the Russian stock market getting absolutely annihilated and all that stuff. And I mean, looking back, right? But had you been buying even in here, not the bottom, somewhere in here, around $1,000 even when the thing went down to a low of, holy shit, yeah, on the invasion week. It dropped down to under $600. But I mean, from that low to where it is now, 684%. but massive recovery on that. Crazy. You know, you wonder, you do wonder, like, if we ever going to get an opportunity like that. I guess it's not going to be as easy as you think. It's not. And my big suspicion, I think I've said a couple times here, and I was talking to my dad about this too, because he was talking about like his portfolio and whatever. And I was like, well, you know, here's my take about it all. You know, we have been going up for a while. The moves as of late have been very, very big. Or, I mean, when you broaden the charts out, right? NASDAQ up however much it is in the past, you know, year and a half. The bear market lows to right now, you're talking about the NASDAQ being up almost 100%. It's up 90-something%. It's a lot. 90-ish, call it. You know, you broaden it out. We had some little blips in here, don't get me wrong. But the biggest bear market since 08, 09 was the 2022 bear market, which wasn't even a year long. Okay. Wasn't even a year long. And now we've recovered massively off of that. And within, you know, a year and a half, blasting all-time highs. Like, not even like, oh, we're just barely making all-time highs. Kind of like back here. We went down in 08 and dropped into 25 on the NAS, on QQQ. And then we eventually made all-time highs. Like, it made all-time highs back in December or into early 2011. So a couple of years later. But what it did for, like, the entire year pretty much, we didn't appreciate a ton back in then. And then it started to kind of move its way up nice and easy. Like, you're talking about the moves that we're seeing, like, big. Like, we're, like, blasting through all-time highs. Like, we're not hanging around all-time high. Like, imagine hanging around in a consolidation on the NASDAQ for a year long. Like, imagine, like, right now, the NASDAQ drops into a range, and this range, if I go back into that time, was approximately 20%. Imagine the S&P and the NASDAQ in a 20% band in a range for the next year. I don't know if we can really imagine that, because it hasn't happened in a while where we've stayed in a range like that, right? You got to go back to 2010, 2011. But yeah, my take is that you've essentially, from a psychology perspective, you've conditioned, especially as of late, you know, in here, and especially if risk on goes. If risk on assets get a run in whatever, in this bull cycle, let's say that you know, first things first, the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, they go to all-time highs. And then if the Russell goes to all-time highs, and if you get like Cathie Wood stocks, ARK, those types of stocks, not going to all-time highs necessarily, but like doing very, very well. If you get that, people are going to look back and go, holy shit. First off, there's FOMO. Second off, they're going to look back and go, holy shit. You know, there were a lot of dip opportunities that I didn't capitalize on, you know, over the past, you know, COVID, maybe 2022 bear market. I mean, look, go back to talk about all the analysts, the guys on CNBC, the guys in the media, financial media, that were like, no, we are going down lower. Rates are staying higher for long, blah, 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 blah. All that crap. A lot of people had, when the market was down here, targets for us to go lower. And it made sense. It made sense. Why not? Well, sure, I can see that. And people were like, yeah, I'm not going to buy yet. And you missed out on good deals. So my take is that at some point, we are going to get a big one. And I'm not being a fearmonger. I'm just talking psychology. You've conditioned people for a long time now. If you don't buy the dip, you're going to miss out. So when we have another dip, what is that going to be? Is it going to be 10%? Is it going to be 20%? Is it going to be a big thing that happens news-wise, worldwide, economy, U.S. economy-wise? Is it going to be a bigger situation that develops, something like Black Swan-y type thing that happens, that scares everyone, that spooks everyone? And this time, buying the dip, a little bit of a bounce, new low. Like, the idea would be, I mean, I'm going to exaggerate here, but whatever happens here, let's say we go higher, then we get a big crack, right? Oh shit, something big happened, big drop. Oh well, you know, if back in here we bought these dips, and or if you didn't buy the dips, you know, you missed out. So we're gonna buy that dip. Guess what? A little pop. Yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, we bought the dip. next leg down. Well, okay, you know, it hurts a lot, but I'm going to buy the dip again because you know what? This is a good spot. We're now at these low, whatever. All I'm saying is that you've conditioned from psychology, the investor psychology, and people are being told that if you don't buy the dip, you're going to miss out based off what's happened. If this occurs, it would not surprise me. Not my forecasting. I don't do that shit. I don't care. I'm just saying, do not be surprised if that happens because a lot of motherfuckers are conditioned to buy the dip now because they missed all the other dips. And just like on the way up, right? As things get higher and higher and higher, people they're like, no, it's too high. And then they buy in late. It's the same thing on the way back down, right? You're going to buy in too early on the dip. It could dip more. You're going to shit your pants. You might sell. You might be not sure what to do. You're not going to buy more later on when it's lower because you're scared it's going to dip further because now each of your dip buys has been getting proven wrong or it's not the bottom. Again, no one can time the bottom, so who cares? And then it'll eventually bottom out when no one believes it will. And that's just my theory about big picture cycle, like not talking about, oh, I'm predicting some mega bust. Like, no, I don't know. I don't care. All I'm saying is that I think that makes, to me, that could be a possible, plausible outcome that would be crazy for a lot of people because they'd be like, holy shit, but it wouldn't surprise me. And you just want to make sure that you have the funds and the capabilities to be buying throughout those dips, just dollar cost averaging, not like you're no care in the world, just doing the normal thing. Hopefully. Doing what makes sense or not to make sense. Buying bond future. Yeah, no, the bond play from, if you were buying it back a while ago, anticipating rates to start to be cut at some point, TLT got nailed further. I mean, it's coming now a little bit here. Maybe the bottom is in here. I don't know. You got a higher low, but I got caught up in that a while ago too. You know, thinking too much. You know. Buffett's got a lot of cash. If we didn't, dude, if we got a 50% downside, holy fuck. That would be crazy. I mean, if that's the other thing too, is that for this, next generation of investors and people and stuff, it could be your opportunity to catch a really good, a really good swing. Now, you probably will have to go through a pretty bad swing for a while, but if you can capitalize and hold on to that, the next upswing, you'll probably be looking pretty good, I would think. So your investing career, right, ultimately could be built off the back of a really nasty dip buy, or a dip buying period, not like a dip buy event, like, oh, it snaps right back up. No, like a couple years of shit being kind of, rough. Booking, baby. Send it. Looking good for a potential take profit. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm looking for 4,000. Just shy of 4,000 realistically. So that's got to go about, $47 more, which is cool. It's only got to go like 1.25% tomorrow for me to take that trade off the table, which I'd be happy to do. Be a nice swing win. Tesla been kind of grinding. Grinding, grinding, grinding. I think that'd be so cool though. He really would. To like experience that, like to go, because like I mean I was alive obviously, but I was fucking 10 in 0809. You know, but it would be really cool to experience like a situation like that at some point, and just to kind of like because of the different perspectives that you build, and I'm sure you'd learn a lot on the back of that. A, and then B, I'm sure it would be really like, it would be crazy, scary, I guess, but also like crazy, really. I don't want to say scary. I think it'd just be interesting. I'm trying to eliminate the. I think it's a good idea to eliminate the super extreme emotions off of things. Like it kind of just is, and if you ride more of a level-headed approach, then you're probably in a good spot. So scary. It's only scary because, you know, you're in like next Friday calls. You know, which people trade that. I mean, you can trade that way. I'm not saying that that's not something you can do, but not my style. There's also just thing about that too. Like we're talking about, you know, let's say you got like a job on a trading floor and whatnot or whatever. I do think about that, and I'm like, well, you know, how much would that job suck ass? And I say that from someone who like enjoys this stuff. I think, I don't know. It might be terrible. Like it might actually suck because of the fact that you have to be there and trade and you have to do these things, versus you kind of have the freedom on your own to do your own thing and learn from yourself, and then ultimately, you know, not really give a shit about what your boss is telling you to do in terms of you got to make this much or you got to do this or you got to trade this way. Full creativity, full freedom, which is cool. But then at the same time, you have, if you don't have rules and you can't establish rules, then you kind of hurt yourself at the same time. So you got to be careful. Like you have the freedom to create your own strategy, yet you need rules in your own system and strategy in order to keep yourself or to keep yourself centered and not, and actually, you know, benefit versus be all over the place. Oh, it was, and I remember that. I do remember that distinctly. Watching the election time frame back in 08. I remember watching that on TV and seeing it. And I think that maybe just because I don't remember 2012. I remember 2016, 2020, I guess. Yeah. I don't remember 2012. But I remember, I guess 2012, I'm not saying who cared, but like, I don't know. I don't think it was that crazy of a time, you know, but I think, oh wait, like maybe it was because my parents and their situation, like, you know, being down on losing money, right, in the market and whatnot. So they were kind of shitting there, like, you know, president is a big deal, right? Maybe that kind of changed the economy, has big repercussions for this, that, and the other thing. So that maybe there was more focus on that, which is why I think I was more tuned into it. Not by necessarily my choice, but I think it's just like parents and where my situation, I guess, like my influences. But yeah, I remember the 2008 presidential election for sure. Watching that. That's going to be fun too to see what happens during the election, because I think that you have the potential. Let me see if I can pull up some cool stats. I believe. I go to my sources on Twitter, which I have not really been closely watching too much. Let's see what Ryan's got to say, because he's usually got some cool charts. But I mean, just looking at charts, I don't really care to get too deep into like the valuations, right? But looking at charts specifically, this I believe is very interesting. And small caps are quite cheap. Now, chart-wise, but also valuation-wise, it seems like they are also very cheap. Because he usually has some good charts about the election years and whatnot and all that stuff, which is fun to see and get a feel for. What markets tend to do. I'm sure he'll post it. He posts it every so often. I'm just trying to find it because I'd like to see if I can find it. '20th new all-time high of 2024 gives me 28 new highs. Once pace or on pace for 62 all-time highs, which would be the most, one of the most ever. Honey, crazy. When the S&P was up November, December, January, and February, the next months have never been lower. Huh. Well, I'm sure I'll post it again soon, but all right, well, I'll see if I can find it, or I'm sure he'll post it again at some point. These types of charts. So I do want to see what we're looking at in terms of like election year stats again, because it's always fun to look at. Yeah, so this position on booking, tomorrow, if we tag 4,000, I'll be out. Very good day today. Really good volume coming in here towards the close, which I like to see. How's volume look on the daily time frame? Not great, but we'll see how that finishes up the last few minutes here. Nice look. We'll see if it continues tomorrow. If so, great. If not, whatever. Could move my stop loss up to break even, I guess, on it if I really, really want to, but or I can move my stop loss to like 38, which would be like just under break even after this pop here, which might not be a bad idea to do. Tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, so other than that, though, I mean, pretty good. Netflix, we're looking for. It was up. It had a little bit of a sell-off here and so close, like a lot of stuff. I think S&P, Apple. That's a pretty hard one though, I guess. It was 283 or 683 roughly. I'm targeting 700 on Netflix, so we'll see if we get it. Overall, chart looks good though. How's SMCI look? SMCI, woo! Whew. That was a nice pullback there, right? Well, I guess the stock is volatile as hell. So we were looking at it, it was like 912 or something. Now it's at 887. But so right here is the break. This volume is coming in a little bit, but you are at the line. So a clean break over like 925 would be a really good look for it to break out. So I would say that that's kind of your threshold. McCann, yeah, I remember both of them, but I feel like I don't know. I just don't feel like there's a lot. Dude, you know that. I guess how many elections have I really experienced that I was like actually aware of? You know, probably when I was 10, being the first, like 08 being the first one. You know, right? And then 12, 16, 20. So not many. But I just feel like there was a time when things were a lot calmer and people cared less. Versus now everyone's like shitting their pants about. Which I guess, hey, for good reason, right? But at the same time, I don't know. It's almost so much you can control. But with that said, the market is closed. I'm gonna wrap things up. Bunch of positions today. I will have trade recaps coming out over the coming days. Should be one out tonight on Tesla, which was a loss. Not a big one, small loss. And then tomorrow I should have an update on the NASDAQ trades, which I believe were, one was a loss, one was a win. I'm going to package those two trades into one because they were pretty much are on the same setup. And we'll do a recap on those tomorrow. So that's the plan. I should have a live stream tomorrow morning. Market will be closed on Wednesday. But if you can hang out tomorrow morning, see you then. Peace. Enjoy your